After its recent upgrades across the board when it comes to the Mercedes W14, Mercedes aren't sitting on their laurels, and they are in fact preparing to have a couple more substantial updates on its W14B across the course of the next 4 Grand Prix race weekends. The team have been very encouraged by the step forward that has been delivered by the major upgrade it introduced in the Monaco Grand Prix weekend. The upgrades were the biggest package to date that Mercedes have introduced to the W14. This included, of course, a revised floor with modifications made to the chamber fence, which have been made to increase local load, to improve flow to the diffuser. A complete redesign of the side pods architecture, which is now more in line with that of Red Bull. The aim with this particular redesign is to help make sure they have a higher ceiling threshold in terms of a development strategy than they had with that of the zero pod concept. And then finally, a complete redesign of the front suspension on the car, with changes being made to the pickup position at the chassis end of the lead arm of the upper wishbone. The arm is now mounted on top of the corner of the chassis rather than the 10 or so centimeters below that line from when it was before. This will have an impact on the mechanical performance of the car itself and of course its vehicle dynamics overall as a whole. Now, this delivered podium finishes for Lewis Hamilton in the last couple of races, with him battling Fernando Alonso throughout much of the race in Montreal last time out to finish in third. But while encouraged by these improvements in terms of performance and results, Mercedes knows it needs to make further inroads if it's to take the fight over the course of the season to Aston Martin and ultimately Red Bull, and are now ready to unleash what they are describing as a larger package of developments prior to the summer break, specifically during the Silverstone weekend. With the budget cap being in place, there is only so much the team can achieve with the W14B for the remainder of the season, particularly given the fact of the new development path it's now changed to. If there was the unlimited budget of yesteryear, I'd say there'd be 100% chance the team would design a brand new chassis for this season. But that is going to have to wait till next year with the W15. Instead, the team has to now focus on what is achievable this year given the budget they have left, and that's where the challenge now lies. With Mercedes having got the development path it wanted from its Monaco upgrade, Toto Wolff said that the speed by which the team was finding gains has ramped up dramatically. I think we are understanding better the simulations, and that correlates with what we are seeing on track, he explained. There's been a problem over the last 1.5 years. We are seeing good performance gains that are coming in the tunnel. We are seeing better understanding of what the car needs in order to go fast and what the setups need to look like. So generally the steps are getting bigger now. I think we're making good inroads. And it's with that the team now has turned their focus towards Silverstone and the British Grand Prix in July. We're bringing a larger one to Silverstone, Toto says. Then we should have another one before shutdown, which he is of course implying of the summer break. It's just that the learnings have accelerated a lot since we've changed some of the conceptual architecture. There should be decent steps coming in the next 4 races. You may be asking, what will these updates be tailored around, as well as what part of the W14B is going to undergo further changes? Well, there is one clear area of development that the team will still want to try to undertake, and that is of course their slow speed performance. It's something that Lewis spoke about directly after the Canadian Grand Prix in the cool down room with both Max and Fernando.
Your rear end is insane.
Mine?
His good, but yours is pretty awesome too.
Their problem area is traction out of slow corners as well as the rear end in general. And so with that, it's pretty clear that is what they're going to be trying to fix with these next set of updates. That means the side pods will undergo changes, albeit ones that are slight modifications instead of a complete overhaul as in the past. The changes will be all about trying to create a bigger undercut on the side pod itself. Not only that, but also of course the downwash effect that it's producing currently. Now, if we were to take a look at the side pods between Mercedes and compare it with the likes of Red Bull and Aston Martin, you'll see there is a somewhat basic look and feel to that of the Mercedes' design. Now, this is to be expected as it's their first iteration with this design, and they will naturally find a lot of performance the longer they spend with it in the wind tunnel. Now, there are quite a few design differences between that of Mercedes and Aston Martin and Red Bull. One of those is Mercedes has the radiator inlets on top of their side pod where they're creating their downwash. Now, this is something you don't really want to have occurring, as it's going to disturb the natural clean air that is coming off of the front wing. This is like hot air and cold air. This does not work. And of course, as you can see on both Aston Martin and Red Bull, they have their cooling outlets much higher up, actually on the engine cover itself and not on the side pods. So that's something Mercedes will be having to work on with its next set of side pod updates. And then secondly, with Mercedes, they have very much hardly got a undercut with their side pod configuration currently. This is very much in contrast to that of Red Bull and Aston Martin. And so they're not making complete use of this side pod's design structures when it comes to creating as much clean airflow as they can towards the diffuser to help in slow speed corners. All these changes should help to facilitate an improvement in performance when it comes to slow speed corners and bring them that much closer to the likes of Red Bull and Aston Martin. And this of course is going to have a knock-on effect across the entire rest of the Formula 1 2023 season. Right guys, that is the video. I hope you've all enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like in this video, and if you have any comments, do let me know down below. Right guys, I'll catch you all in another Formula 1 video.